Reactions have been trailing the Saturday election, the presidential and the National Assembly election. Many Nigerians have been reacting differently to it. The rigging, as people have been observing, is so conspicuous, and the evidences abound to the extent some people feel that even the blind will know what has happened. Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the All Progressive Congress has been declared the winner of the election. Atiku is prepared to go to court to contest the mandate. Peter Obi, widely acclaimed to have won the election, has vowed to reclaim his mandate in the court. Various conversations have been going on, and we are continuing the conversations on the election. I have two gentlemen to rub minds on the issue. One is, on my far left, is Gele Abai. Gele Abai is the publisher of the National Newsbreak and is a member of the Watchdog of the Society. Gele, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Next to him is Phinehas Chinedu Chidike. Chidike contested in the last election for the House of Representatives, Owerri Federal Constituency. Chidike, you are welcome.
Thank you. Welcome.
My name is Afam H. I welcome you to Universal Heritage Television Niger. This is our breakfast show. Now, Gele, how can you describe the mood of the nation after the election on Saturday?
Well, thank you. The mood of the nation is like that of a graveyard. Many people are mourning that the election turned out the way it did. People are dissatisfied with the conduct of the election, particularly the way the electoral umpire, that is Independent National Electoral Commission, conducted the election in total breach of even its own guideline that poll unit results shall be transmitted electronically to what they call the IRF or to their website, so that interested Nigerians or even the global world will begin to see the results real time that they didn't do. So Nigerians are, even the camp of the so-called winners, appears to be quiet. I don't think they're even celebrating much, even though some people can amuse themselves and say they have won. But we know that the election was conducted in a manner that people seem to have lost confidence in the electoral umpire. I think Nigerians are not feeling happy. Majority of the Nigerians, not the small clique that subverted the electoral will of the people or the political will of the people, because many people, many Nigerians came for the first time. Some even voted for the first time in their life because they were assured that votes will now count. And they believe with the electronic introduction, the introduction of beavers, that their votes could now count. So they are not happy. Nigerians generally are not happy.
Okay, Phinehas, how would you describe the performance of INEC? What actually stands out for you in this election?
The performance of INEC was Gestapo. It's related to the Hitler regime, where people are grabbed and forced against their will to concentration camps. And the Gestapo was a silent police and secretive police that dealt a massive blow to free thinkers and independent voices that actually set up a given society. INEC raped the Nigerian state. In all trueness and in all sincerity, we have never experienced this level of debauchery. In fact, it's beyond description of words. INEC has proven to us that it's a dishonorable organization. And in certainty, we need to disband INEC because they have failed in their job description and job delegation. So my opinion is, there was no election. What we had was a sham, a fiasco of many sorts. And lastly, we are yet to have an organized government that will function, because observations from the streets, marketplaces, public places will confirm this, my assertions, that everyone is downcast. So we're looking at a new Nigeria, and that new Nigeria must be built on trust, truth, and patriotism. But at the moment, we have lost our nation. We don't have a nation.
Okay, Gele, you had him very well. He said we have lost our nation. We're looking for a new Nigeria. So many people seem to repose so much confidence on Peter Obi, and it would appear, drawing from opinions here and there all over the country, that people are rooting for him, that he may have won the election. Now the mandate was given to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He stated that he is going to court to reclaim his mandate. Looking at what is happening in our judiciary, what has happened, the rulings coming from our judiciary in recent time, what is your level of confidence in his ability to reclaim his mandate? I mean, Peter Obi.
Yes, they say that going to court is the only civilized way to function in this democracy. Some people cook it up that you have to go to court. You know, they tell you win first and let the opponent go to court, because they are also sure that some people at the temple of justice will also do their will. But there is nothing bad in testing going to court. There is nothing bad in that. Let me give you a little background about Obi. He contested the governorship election in Anambra State. Another person, he won. Another person was given the mandate. That was Chris Ngige. He went to court. The people must have advised him, don't go to court, because courts don't listen to people, or they will be influenced by the highest bidder. But he still went to court and reclaimed the mandate. In fact, he's the first governor or the first person to win the governorship race through the court, or to get it back through the court, not win through the court. He got it back through the court. 6 months later, they ganged up and impeached him, because the House of Assembly then was People's Democratic Party members. They ganged up and impeached him. The man still went to court and reclaimed the seat. Later, election, they said his tenure had ended, and they conducted an election, and the man was declared governor. The man went to court and sought the interpretation of the constitution on the tenure of a governor. He argued that his tenure was still running, because his tenure should start not the day he was restored or sworn in. So he got that interpreted in his favor. The Andiba was sacked. He came back and completed his 8 years. This is a man. I don't know, some people, those of us who belong to Christianity, we say it's a miracle.
That for the third time he went to court.
He went to court and won. So, but right now, he's at the highest level of justice, where maybe those who think they own Nigeria will try to subvert it. But let him try his luck too. Let him try. And maybe God will launch him into another history.
Okay, Phineas, do you have a different opinion from those of what you said?
Considering the sham called our judiciary, I would still repeat it, that considering the sham called our judiciary, I have zero confidence in the judiciary. I have zero confidence in our prepaid degree holders called lawyers and judges alike, because from my own assessment, considering all the legal interpretations done to both governorship candidates, senatorial seats and House of Representatives, that the decay has gone beyond the judiciary seat per se. It is now individualized by occupants of the seats of judiciary decision making. Come to think about it, a man was allegedly taken to court for corruption cases, and the EFCC arrested him, providing clear evidences indicting him of embezzlement of public funds and non-declaration of assets. And then this same judiciary that were praying for Peter Obi to go and reclaim his mandate set that man free and dropped all the charges.
Which particular case are you referring to?
Well, I'm making a reference to Rocha Sanayo Okorocha.
Okay.
where the judiciary stepped up after embarrassing a man through the anti-graft agency, yes, entering into his house through the roof. And then this same court people and this court judiciary that were still trying to drop our hope set him free and dropped all the charges. Same was also related to the EFCC chairman who was indicted too. The same court set him free and dropped all the charges. How many will I put in line here that you don't know and even the cameraman does not know? We all know that the Nigerian judiciary has grown from bad to worse. So I on my own as an independent activist of truism, change in governance and the new Nigeria, I will always advocate that the INEC is not even our biggest challenge. The biggest challenge is a total overhaul of all the foundational principles that establish Nigeria. Because as I speak to you, that same judiciary will also interpret that because Peter Obi did not do a legal petition as at the day the winner was declared in that hour, that they would not listen to his case, that it's also time barred. So I have zero confidence in the judiciary. Thank you.
Okay, you said you have zero confidence in the judiciary. Now, assuming, what will you recommend? Assuming Peter Obi goes to the courts and loses.
I will encourage Peter Obi, my Igbo brother, and a true Nigerian, who is a patriotic Nigerian. Because now we are looking beyond ethnicism, we're looking at nationalism. A patriot that cuts all corners, that is pan-Nigerian, that has zero dependency on religious sentiments, ethnic sentiments. I'm looking at a man who believes that service to humanity is above every level. And whatever you live for man and your society is what stands till the end of time. To quietly know that he is fighting against a heavily institutionalized, corrupt nation called Nigeria, and look into his private business and go there and cajole himself. But if it is about wasting hard-earned resources, hard-earned money to hire the services of lawyers that know that those judges are waiting for billion vans of dollars and naira to usurp and thwart the will of the common man, that is not worth doing. Because before you go into any project, you must count the cost and give it serious attention. So Peter Obi, if you know you have more than enough money to go through the court, my opinion and my suggestion to you as a true activist is bring that money and do human empowerment. Become an employer of labor in your location, in your community, and across Nigeria. But if it's about taking it to the court and the judiciary, my brother, that money is dead on arrival and a total waste of man, power, and time. Thank you.
Okay, I want us to look at the actors in this sham called election that took place as he described it. Now, the man who presided over the affairs of INEC is a professor. And we've meant to know that the ivory towers are centers of excellence where you find the best. And they're expected to play roles that can humanize and bring sanity to the society. That's why they are called the centers of excellence. Now, if he could allow himself to be compromised, as people have said, and again, down the line, all the other actors, all the other persons who participated in the election also got compromised. And these are people you will say university lecturers belong to the oppressed group, to the oppressed class in the society. They go on strike, and it's the same university lecturers that were used to announce these results. Now, do you think there is still hope that this country can still move forward? Given the level, given the picture he has painted, that he doesn't have belief in the judiciary. So, if we are all going through these experiences, where then lies our hope?
Let me talk about the ivory tower or the universities being centers of excellence. They are not. Because agree that they are not centers of excellence. Especially Nigeria's ivory towers are not centers of excellence.
You are qualified.
What have they produced to help the society? The other day I read a story of University of Maiduguri being attacked by snakes. They went and invited snake charmers to read the environment of snakes. But this is a university that has maybe a department of chemical engineering. They couldn't manufacture any chemical that can chase away the dangerous reptiles that invaded its confines. Now, think of a professor who wants to be a VC. He leaves the so-called ivory tower and goes to one bush to meet a babalawo to tell him or give him something that will make him become a VC. So how is he a center of excellence? Now, but let's not. Okay, the university professors stayed 8 months on strike without pay. In fact, they were dragging whether it will be half pay or pay at all. And yet they still had the guts to rig election, in spite of all the problems they had. So the universities are no longer centers of excellence, but we still need to send our kids to those places to learn. They can still learn. Let me tell you, it is actually what you contain that makes you either excellent or not maybe where you even studied. It is wrong for a VC or a vice chancellor to make an electoral return of somebody who didn't win any election. And he has the conscience to tell you that that person won the election. It is very wrong and very bad. But it's not because of his education. It's because of what drives him.
Okay.
So what is his philosophy of life? Is it just to make money and then maybe live big? You know, some people are trained by money. They just want money to eat and drink and maybe sometimes womanize. What do they even do with the money? You call yourself a professor and maybe you have not even invented anything. You hold a PhD. Sometimes I wonder, why should I even go and read a PhD or master's? What are they doing with the PhD? Somebody gets a first class. What has he done with the first class? That's what is important. So they have messed up the system. They have. The university lecturers. It is very wrong for what they have done. That somebody will win an election, they will change the number because they are either at gunpoint of the politician or they have been giving money. The last time, the last dispensation, we had a senator at gunpoint. Because at least one of the professors confessed that he was under gunpoint before he signed the result. And this is the type of society we have degenerated to. And it is wrong.
Okay, Phineas, so how would you also describe the role of the university dons in the election?
My position on it is, since 1985, the Nigerian universities has produced prepaid degree holders.
Prepaid
degree holders. I repeat, the Nigerian university system has produced prepaid degree holders.
What do you mean by that?
Good. As at 1985, April 13th, that was the first time in the NUC journal that Nigerians were caught copying from academic materials in order to boost and enhance their scores. And I believe that from that day, that then developed to date, none of the products of the ivory towers has been sound, well-tutored, resilient, and well-grounded. So we have actually been recycling empty-headed fools to some extent. Some certain individuals have excelled out of personal determination and self-will. But in an overall estimate, yes, we now have a 98.1% turnout of parafefes and rabble-rousers who have not gotten sound and basic education. And it has culminated by the turn of the millennium into a disaster where we have grown from bad to worse, where lecturers now have sex for grades, where students are extorted under the auspices of procurement of reading materials, where students have been driven to a point where they now engage in cyber crimes in order to pay off bills levied against them by lecturers and the principals of this Hall of Fame, this White Houses you're mentioning. So in sincerity, not flogging a dead horse, I will tell you that the professor in question that even conducted the election, that his PhD is equally questionable. Because if you do an assessment, an academic assessment, or if you conduct an academic assessment on his person in his field of study, he will fare very badly, and he will fare woefully, because he's not sound. You know, the white man tells you that shit rolls down the hill, it doesn't go up the hill. And men of my kind who have decided not to stop at the little we've been doled out, have decided to eke out a hallmark of fame for ourselves in our field of study. We've been able to understand that there's a difference between love letter and time bomb. And the truth be said on air, that the lecturers that we'll call lecturers are a byproduct of failed means of disseminating and transferring knowledge. So, in all sincerity, you don't give what you don't have. These men that conducted these elections are so bedeviled with irregularities that they have even forgotten that they are the product of the failure of the states. For 8 months, Nigerian lecturers were all on strike. Am I not communicating, my brothers? Yeah. And in that 8 months, they were without pay. Yeah. Good. Being without pay, it didn't register anything of importance to their hearts that if peradventure they are given an opportunity to right the wrongs, yes, that they should write it correctly and to the latter, only for them to come out and spill the beans that they are part of the process that has failed and killed the Nigerian state. So
if I get you right, what you mean is that the fact that the university dons supported in subverting the will of the people,
yes,
means they too are products of substandard systems.
Substandard system.
That if they were not involved, they couldn't have gotten to that height.
Good.
That's what you are implying.
Good.
Otherwise, they won't be involved in doing the.
Good, because the processes itself was politicized. You know, the academic world is a secularian world where you're given value for effort. But now, the NUC, National University Commission, transmutated value for reward to pay back for promotions. People no longer submit theses and articles and journals that are of
books that
reputable words that can be vetted, that they wrote it. What they now do is they lift articles from libraries, pull out the introduction, pull out the biography of the writer, and then do plagiarism. They now put their names to the first page of the articles and now publish, and NUC will approve because the processes have been monetized.
Okay. We've heard that so much about the role of the university lecturers. Now, Gele, let me ask you. You see, today we have a new addition to our social parliament, our local parliament. We hear the word Emiloko, which I understood that it means
it's my turn.
It is my turn. And Tinubu did not hide this. He said this to Nigerians. But what is not very clear is where and whom he reached this agreement with, that it is his turn. And he has walked his talk. He realized that it is his turn. And today, he's the president-elect, whether or not he gets to answer. He said it is his turn. So now, where do you think that phrase, Emiloko, is coming from? He had this agreement with who? Because for him to now have walked his way to become the president and realize that it is his turn, I don't know whether you get...
Yes, I think the person he struck the deal with is clear and well known to us.
No, bearing in mind, let me remind you, okay. You see, the presidential seat is open to all Nigerians. Everybody has a claim to it, including you, if you are interested and you aspire. So when somebody now come and say, what belongs to every Nigerian?
Is his turn.
Is his turn. So
that's what he struck a deal. In 2015,
okay.
When President Muhammadu Buhari had already given up hope, he had run for times. And the last one, he even cried and shedded tears and said he was no longer interested. But this Emiloko, I mean the Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Are you calling him now Emiloko?
He's Emiloko, he's his son. So he now went to him and said, come out, I'll make you president. You know, Nigeria is a place where, in spite of the large population, some clique or a clique can decide what happens. I know that in other societies, it's usually the few that determine. But in Nigeria's own case, they don't determine what is best for the generality of the people. They determine what is best for themselves. So he struck the deal with the outgoing president, that after him, he will become the 16th president of Nigeria. And at a point, it's like the president was no longer trying to support that ambition to come to fruition. So he had to remind him that it was his turn. That's the Miloko. He spoke in Yoruba language and said it is his own turn. And he also said it has been his lifetime ambition to be president of this country. So he has been planning to be president. And that could explain why he will go, if your mother is sick, he will come to you and give you money to treat your mother. So that by the time he will come out, you will have something to say, this man is a generous person. Say, if I can do philanthropy because of politics, let me continue doing philanthropy. So he was doing philanthropy because of this is a turn that he has now gotten the first leg. Because this is the first leg. He has been declared president-elect. But he has to wait until he is now sworn in before Emiloko will actually come to fruition. So it must be the outgoing president that he struck the deal with. And he reminded him that this is his turn, that he should remember what they agreed. Because at the point, even the El-Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State, had to say that there is a cabal in Asorok that didn't want that Emiloko to come to fruition. So he has to remind them. Well, the guy has done well for himself by achieving his lifetime ambitions. But did you achieve it through a clean process? This is another question. Must you achieve your lifetime ambition by hook and crook?
At the expense of millions of
There's nothing bad in having a lifetime ambition.
Yeah, Phineas.
Yes.
You see, drawing from what Gele said, it will appear that the political class is holding this country to ransom. They are the ones who call the shots. And if you look at the drama that transpired on Saturday, and what he reminded about the statement from the Kaduna State Governor El-Rufai, that there is a cabal in the Asorok that is determining what happens. Now, how do you think Nigerians should react, should respond to this hijack of the entire Nigerian society by a tiny group? Look at their influencing things everywhere, that even the university dons, cannot extricate themselves from their stranglehold. Everybody, it is money. With the money they steal from the people, it's the same money they use to launch against the people. So how do you think we should respond to this thing and break away from their stranglehold?
Okay. Considering that we have called some certain corrupt politicians elitist, I will tell you on press and in media here that Nigeria has no elitist. What we have is criminals with public funds parading themselves as elitists. Whoever says that he or she is an elitist and has been in any position of power is a criminal. Nigeria has more or less businessmen and women. But for the word elitist, cream the cream of the society, we don't have that. So if any politician or anybody is offered a red rug in any event as an elitist, representing the richest in our society, those people are criminals because they are with the Commonwealth and with public funds. Now, we allowed them to hijack the process because we don't know that we have rights.
We don't know that we don't have rights.
We don't know that we have rights. The average Nigerian has a right as contained in the Constitution. The truth is that every Nigerian does not even own a copy of the Constitution. I would not say further, but I will appeal that for you who is listening to me or you who is watching me, go and get a copy of the Constitution and know your rights. That is why the policeman will stop you. Hey, come on, stop here. Open that motor. Enter Hilux. Because you don't know your rights. That is why this crook who conducted the election and just declared criminal results was able to do that. If we know our rights, we have rights of protest, we have rights of civilian arrests, we only have rights to gatherings and rights to public welfare and protest. So go and get your constitution as a Nigerian. When you have your constitution, every facet of government will start working. But in as much as they know none of us owns a constitutional copy of the nation, they know we're still in the blind and in the dark. And then they will keep rocking the boat like we're tadpoles in the river. So by the time they start seeing a craze and a rush to get a copy of the constitution, to dissolve ourselves in it, just like the Muslim will read his Quran and the Christian his Bible. So are you listening to me?
Awareness.
It will raise that patriotic nationalism that when you are harassed by any facet of government, be it law enforcement, judiciary, executive, and you reply constitutionally, they will sit up and start doing their job functions. But in as much as they know we are behind the veil, that we have not lifted the veil, they will keep handing us roasted carcass in the place of well-nourished lamb. Thank you.
Let me take your mind to this issue. Many people are giving interpretations to what played out in South Sudan. They are saying that this is a grand plot, a grand design to keep the Igbo man away from the rulership of this country. And some are saying that that is the justification. They have only justified the agitation by the IPOB group, you know, which are saying, if he cannot allow us to rule Nigeria, allow us to go. Does that make sense to you? How would you respond to this?
Well, during the campaigns, or in the build-up to the campaigns, the now Vice President-elect made a statement that Peter Obi can only rule in the southeast. I'm talking about Shetima, the former Yerima, no, not Yerima Shetima, the Kasim Shetima, who is the Vice President-elect now. He said that Peter Obi can only rule in the southeast. That's his mindset. And that is also, I think, the mindset of most of the people in that region of the country. That the Igbo man cannot rise to lead a country where he belongs to. And it is very wrong. And
I want to remember too, I had to El Rufai, the Kaduna State Governor, also made a similar statement.
They made a, you know, they are the fanatics in that their own area or their religion. So, but the Igbo man, it was the entry of the Igbo man in the race that made us to know that this politics could be used to change the tide, to clean up the society. It was an Igbo man that brought the idea that a politician should be sound. I mean, it was Peter Obi that has now changed the political philosophy or political landscape of Nigeria.
You mean he raised the bar?
He raised the bar.
So that,
a president, anybody aspiring to that office should be intelligent. You know, we have been electing almost nitwits. Or they have been imagined. We have not been electing them. They have been imagined. And most of the people that have ruled this country were not prepared for the office. Let me give you an example. Olusegun Obasanjo was in prison, in the Gulag, when some people went and brushed him up, brought him and brushed him up and sat him on the seat. His successor wanted to go back to the university to continue his lecturing business. I mean, Mario Musa Yar'Adua. They said, no, don't go back to the university. Come and be president. They made him president. Even though he was a different breed of somebody from the north. who do not, they don't see people here as part of the country. Now, the next person, of course, our brother, our next brother, next door neighbor, Goodluck Jonathan, wanted to remain as governor in Bayelsa. They said, no, Obasanjo told him, come and be vice president to Yar'Adua. From vice president, you know what happened. Yar'Adua died in the office. Even though it was a tug of war, before we could even agree that he had died. And now the doctrine of necessity came into play. They didn't want to swear him as president, even though he was entitled to the office. Maybe because of his affinity to this area, or maybe because he came from the minority, but eventually he now became. So, it's unfortunate. Sometimes I see that I ask myself, why is it because of where I come from, I cannot amount to anything in Nigeria? It's not only in the political arena. Igbos have been threatening in Lagos to leave the place because they voted against the city boy. I don't know whether he's still the city boy now, because the last election has shown that he has no grips again in Lagos. Because if Labour could win up to 500, the one they accredited or ceded to Labour could be 582,000 something. And the city boy got 500 and less, about 10,000 votes less. So, I don't know what they want the Igbo people to become in Nigeria. You don't like it. I see the relationship between Igbo and the rest of the country, like that of a spouse, a husband and a wife. A man marries a wife. He doesn't like the wife. And he doesn't want the wife to go. He wants the wife to maybe die in his presence before he can separate, because death will do them part. I don't know whether the rest of the country wants the Igbo man to die and then be cleared from the face of the earth before they will allow us to actually express ourselves. The Igbo man should not give up. But there are a lot of things stacked against the Igbo man, that he cannot even do business, because the Igbo man has this knack for business. In politics, initially they were saying that Igbo people don't vote. But this time they came and voted. And yet their votes could not count. And it is wrong.
Okay. Phineas, we got this information that the INEC chairman voted away shortly after declaring the result. And up till now, nobody has debunked that information. Nobody has said it is a lie. And what does that say to you if after declaring a result and he left the shores of this country, and people have been signing petitions that he should not be allowed to touch any of the European and American nations? So what is your take on the flight of the INEC chairman immediately after the election?
If you had my words properly, I said it's a sham, it's a mirage, it's a strong fiasco. Words can't even describe it enough. For him to have jetted out, it speaks volume. It's self-explanatory. That somebody has occasioned you harm, and then when the law enforcement comes to arrest him, he's nowhere to be found, means he has already admitted guilt. I believe that guilt is not something you need to look for in the court through question and answer. Acts, responses can equally give you resultant result of guilt. That man, in my own opinion, the professor, has just played that a script of 3 to 4 years planning, extensive planning. But unfortunately, for every religion, somebody must bear the weight of the ill acts of that religion. For example, in Christianity, it was Judas the Carrot, or Judas Iscariot. Good. He was the one that fulfilled the script. In Islam, it was Muhammad's brother. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
Who didn't believe in the will of Allah. Even in Hindu, Shinto, Taoism, everybody has a narration of a betrayer. So what am I narrowing this thing down to? We should have not even been surprised that such happened. We should have expected it. Because what kills a man is what he does not know. But what you know cannot kill you. Rather, you provide yourself with plan B and escape route for it. And sincerely, why I mentioned that we should go and get a copy of the Constitution is there is also what we call civilian courts, where you don't need to congregate under the judiciary to have an action undertaken. So please, having a copy of the Constitution will arm you properly, because the society can equally judge you and it becomes law. An example is given to that country, I think it should be Cambodia or what, or Bangladesh, where their president was found wanting, both in conduct and character, and hoarding petroleum products. What did the citizens of the country do? They exercised that civilian court process by invading his house, and the police could not do anything, because it is a fundamental point in human rights in the Constitution, and it is universal and global, and it is also obtainable through the UN Charter, where civilians would rise up not with arms but with demonstration to change the unchangeable, and it stands as a point of law. So considering those points of law guiding my speech, I will tell you that if a man in full plain sight evidence and in glaring reality of being human gives you a wrong interpretation of what is visibly obvious, it is criminal. And the will of the whole Nigerians who are committed to nation building and patriotism has been thrown into the trash can. And as I speak to you today, what is roaming our roads are people with a bent willpower, with frustration and pain, because Nigeria now can be likened to a ghost town, like Gele said. So we should be looking at how do we restore the confidence of the average Nigerian, and how do we nip this criminal in the bud, because a criminal act, if left unguarded, becomes another point of law too. So law is dynamic and law is resolute. So to forestall such future occurrences, Nigerians should rise up to the challenges of implementing what the Constitution says in hours and times of this kind, and ensure we redeem our nation. It belongs to us, not to the rich, not the political class, not the police. Nigeria belongs to individually, each and every one of us. And that is why everybody should go and get a copy of the Constitution. Because, yes, because
know where he stands.
Because it is legal by the Constitution to apprehend someone that is spoiling the society. But to enforce punishment, the law still appropriates that another form of judiciary should be set up to take charge and take care of such. So we should not just let it be like, what can we do, highest they will shoot us. No. We should be looking at making sure we do the right thing and at the right time. Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, maybe this is where we may draw the curtain. Gele, what's your parting words to our viewers on the 2023 election?
Well, hopes have been dashed. People have been demoralized. We feel betrayed by those we thought had some level of intelligence and understanding to do the right thing, but they didn't do that. But let us go out on March 11. This time we will vote, insist on the vote being counted in our presence, insist on the vote being calculated well, and then everybody should get a copy. I mean, the agents should get a copy before they take it to any other place. That's what I pray that Nigeria should do this time. Nobody should allow anybody to manipulate anything.
Phineas, what's your parting word?
My parting word as a true patriotic Nigerian that speaks 3 Nigerian basic languages, Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, that believes that the labors of our leaders past shall never be in vain, is if we follow the theory of the poisonous tree, which says that if a tree is poisonous, its fruits, its herbs, and its leaves are equally poisonous, what we should do is stand up and challenge the monsters that have come to take away our dear nation. Confront them, not with violence or mob action, but with blockades that will send chills down their spine, and they will know that truly a nation has risen and a new Nigeria has begun. Because this nation is one nation born in freedom, peace, and unity. Thank you.
Thank you. Viewers, you've heard it all from our guests. We round off the program at this point, and we ask you to do the needful on the 11th of March and do it right, just like Gela has advised. Remember to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube platform. My name is Afam Echi. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
Phineas.
Thank you.